Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mila, you're at my book nook, and today I have just like a simple video of like trying to sort of explain and give you an alternative to Goodreads, explain why I'm mainly on StoryGraph. So StoryGraph is an independently owned book tracking platform. I was like a beta user before they had like the app. It was just a website. Like I was a beta user. So I've been there since the beginning. Goodreads, on the other hand, that thing's like almost as old as I am. Well, I think it's like 2006 that was created. Anyways, so here are a couple of like sort of things about StoryGraph as to why I really like it. So sort of pros in a sense. The stats. I do quarterly wrap-ups. It's just fun to see the stats, how many books I've read, how many pages, how many audiobook hours, how many sort of are fantasy, how many are historical fiction, sort of genre stats, how many are like fast-paced, how many are like 300 pages and under, how many are 300 to 500, how many are 500 plus. Like it's easy to sort of gauge by you just look at the book, you can easily sort of guess in a sense once you know what to look for, but it's fun to see that like, oh, I mainly read this amount of pages, I mainly read books with like this amount of pages in this time period. And it's like, why is that? I don't know, maybe I was like traveling or something like that. Oh, I didn't read at all in the month of July. Why is that? I wasn't even in the country. That kind of thing. So it's just, the stats are great. The creators of StoryGraph, one creator lady, they're super transparent. There was an AI feature that they implemented, and they were like super transparent about how this AI thing was working. Like it wasn't from like, it doesn't work the way that ChatGPT works. It's like on their own servers. I'm not a tech person in that sense, so I don't know. But as far as I'm aware, environmental impacts, it doesn't impact the environment as much. Like it has a much smaller footprint than like something like ChatGPT does, because ChatGPT is actively poisoning marginalized communities that live around those data centers that sort of cool down. Anyways, it's a whole thing. I can't really explain it because I don't fully understand myself. But the creators are transparent. If you want a feature, they have a thing on their website where it's like, oh, this is a specific feature, and you can like upvote it so that they can see what the most popular ones are. Quarter and half star ratings. I've really gotten into quarter and half star ratings lately. I think in the past year-ish or so, I've implemented the sort of quarter star rating kind of thing. And yeah, it's really useful because then I can really remember how I truly felt about the books, which is great. There are trigger warnings. There's like light, moderate, and like detailed or something like that. So there's like 3 tiers. So it's like, is it mentioned? Is it like on screen, like on page? And is it like graphic? That kind of thing, right? Which is great because a lot of people, like Goodreads doesn't have an built-in trigger warning feature, which I think, to be honest, the fact that StoryGraph does this is fantastic. Pace, there's a stat thing for pace, so like how fast or slow or medium pace the book is, which I think is fun. As I said, number of pages, genres, authors, average rating. Goodreads doesn't have, I think it has an average rating of like all of the books that you've read, and Goodreads doesn't have the quarter and half star ratings. And I don't think you can see your most read authors. You can't get any types of statistics from Goodreads itself built onto the website, right? Whereas with StoryGraph, you can. And then formats, as I said, I personally think it is one of the most intuitive and user-friendly platforms. I like how minimalistic it is, because with Goodreads, you get bombarded with like an insane amount of ads, and it's just so cluttered. And so I think it's super intuitive. You can also like have like a book club challenge on there. So I have the Museum Society Book Club books on there for the whole year. Like I updated it before the year starts, so like December-ish, I would update for the first 6 months. And then in about, I want to say May or even June, I update for the next 6 months, which is great. And I just title them like, oh, July book 1, July book 2, that kind of thing. And then once you read it and you mark it as read for this year, it like circles it, or like it like highlights it saying that like you read it, and then you can see how many books out of all of them you read, which I think is fun. And then you have various type of challenges. You can track the number of pages you've read, you can track the number of books you read, and you can track the number of hours you've read if you are an audiobook person. And going back to sort of the book club / challenge thing, there are so many different challenges that people have put up around the world. Read Asia, just like A to Z, and then just various, just like lists of fantastic books from a specific topic, from a specific genre, from a specific country, and stuff like that. So I think it doesn't have a fully integrated social aspect the way Goodreads does, because you get onto Goodreads and you see the social stuff, which, to be honest, I don't use as much. Like, the most I do is maybe like a person that they're reading a book if I like the book as well, or if I want to read the book as well. That's the most I do. I barely ever comment. So I think in that sense, it's not super social focused, which I think is fine because that's what we have social media for. I don't think I would do much either, but that, honestly, to each their own. But again, I think that where StoryGraph shines really compared to Goodreads is the stats and the quarter half ratings, and just the overall transparency from the creator and from the team of what StoryGraph is going to implement. And they really listen to their users, which I found that Goodreads doesn't listen to their users at all. So I don't know why y'all are still kissing ass with Goodreads. Goodreads doesn't listen to their users. They don't listen to their user base. They didn't listen to their user base before it was bought by Amazon. They don't listen to their user base now, even after it's bought by Amazon. This is like a $1 trillion company, and they cannot implement half-star ratings and quarter-star ratings. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Also, StoryGraph has a plus feature, which I think is fun, where you can create custom stats and stuff like that, which I find useful because I want just the quarter sort of wrap-ups kind of thing. Also, there's wrap-ups. You get monthly wrap-ups. That's another thing I forgot to note down, which I think is really fun. And here are a couple of reasons as to why I haven't fully left Goodreads. When I started my bookstagram, everyone was in Goodreads. The publishers, the authors, the reviewers, my friends were on Goodreads. It was the bookish platform. I did switch at one point to StoryGraph. I mainly used it, but then I would come back every time to sort of update Goodreads. And it's the platform. You have stuff like Pagebound and Fable and StoryGraph, but they haven't hit the amount of popularity that Goodreads has because it is now owned by Amazon. It still has this chokehold over the book reviewer apps, right? Nothing is going to beat it unless they get the same backing as Goodreads does, right? Unless they really amp up their production and their teams and their speed of how they implement things. Publishers and authors rely heavily on Goodreads. You don't see videos being like, oh, I read the lowest rated and the highest rated on my StoryGraph. No, you see that for Goodreads, right? You see authors being review bombed on Goodreads, right? You see authors talking about Goodreads giveaways. StoryGraph doesn't have giveaways. They do have giveaways, but Goodreads giveaways is the place to be. If your book has tanked in its review, in its overall rating, people are going to be less likely to read it on Goodreads. Nobody looks at the average. I don't even know if there is a rating for the book. There is a community rating, but I don't think people really pay attention to that on StoryGraph because it's just oh, it's your sort of little bubble, and there's less of that social kind of thing. And also, Goodreads also has, I think, a lot more books than StoryGraph, and that is basically the only reason that is A, it's been around for a really long freaking time, and B, Amazon owns it. A lot of their information comes from Amazon. That's why you can find the KU books, because it's connected to Amazon, right? It's Amazon owned. I mean, I don't know. It just makes everything so much easier. It's been around a long time. I've built a presence on there already. I don't have a lot of friends or anything, but I follow a couple of authors, I follow a bunch of friends and stuff like that. And it's just, I've built my presence there, right? If you're going to go onto my socials, secondary to a third one from like Instagram and YouTube would probably be the Goodreads, right? Then it has like the social aspect, as I said, that StoryGraph has, but StoryGraph has a social thing, right? But it's less used because I think it's a little more hidden, whereas Goodreads is like right in your face, right? And then people go, as I said, by Goodreads ratings to help form their opinions, right? So yeah, I know this was a short video, as far as me goes, but I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below. I will always keep linking until I've decided to completely come off Goodreads. I will always keep linking my Goodreads as well as my StoryGraph if you'd like to follow me on both. I accept the friend request of whoever sends me a friend request. Like, I'm not going to be picky about it. If you want to send me a friend request, cool, send it. So yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. Do the usual, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all my socials, including StoryGraph, and I will see you in the next one. Happy reading.